The morning in northern Tanzania begins beneath a deep blue sky, stretching all the way to the horizon. There are no white clouds drifting overhead, nor the lively sounds that usually welcome a new day. For the Hadzabe people, this is just another ordinary morning, much like countless others they have experienced over thousands of years. Yet every hunt is a new journey, because in this untamed wilderness, no one can ever predict what lies ahead. The hunt begins without a single command. There is no leader giving orders, no lengthy discussion or carefully laid plan. Each member simply knows their role through knowledge and experience passed down from generation to generation. They carry wooden bows, carefully prepared arrows, and a small knife fastened at the waist. Every step is slow yet confident, so light that it almost blends with the breathing of the forest itself. For the Hadzabe, hunting has never been about strength alone. It is a careful balance of patience, keen observation, and a deep understanding of nature. They pause again and again to listen for sounds so faint that most people would never notice them. A fresh footprint pressed into the soil, a blade of grass that has just been disturbed, or even a subtle shift in the wind is enough to reveal the presence of prey. Every sense is fully engaged. In this forest, a single reckless decision can come at a very high cost. Suddenly, a crocodile appears near the path they are following. The distance is close enough to make the atmosphere instantly tense. Yet no one panics. The hunters quietly observe the animal before calmly changing direction. They understand that courage is not about confronting every danger, but about knowing when to move forward and when to step away. To them, returning home safely is always more important than chasing a single animal. After leaving the dangerous area behind, the hunt continues with its true objective, an aardvark, a secretive and elusive animal known for being remarkably difficult to approach. Finding its tracks is already a challenge, but getting close enough for a clean shot is even harder. One hunter slowly raises his bow, draws the string tight, and releases. The arrow flies swiftly and true, bringing the hunt to an end in a single moment. They examine the animal, retrieve the arrow, and quietly move on. There are no cheers and no signs of prideful celebration. The only expressions on their faces are calmness and gratitude, thankful that nature has provided another meal for the group. When they return to camp, the meat is roasted over a small fire fueled by dry grass and firewood gathered from the forest. No one keeps the best portion for themselves, and no one believes they deserve more than anyone else. every piece is shared fairly so that everyone has something to eat. This is a tradition that has existed within the Hadzabe community for generations, where the survival of each individual has always depended on the well-being of the group. Their way of life reflects a philosophy that is both simple and profound. The Hadzabe rarely store wealth or stockpile resources for the distant future. They take from nature only what is needed to sustain life, believing that balance is what allows people to endure over time. In their community, wealth is not measured by material possessions, but by the willingness to share and the strength of the bonds between its members. Everyone understands that only when the community thrives can each individual continue to live and flourish. Perhaps that is why today's hunt is not a story of a glorious victory or a thrilling adventure. It is simply an ordinary day in the life of the Hadzabe, yet one filled with profound lessons about humility, gratitude, and the spirit of sharing. In a modern world that constantly urges us to seek more, move faster, and reach higher, their way of life reminds us that true happiness does not always come from possessing more. Sometimes, it comes from knowing what is enough and being willing to share what we have, so that everyone can continue to thrive.
There are some tracks that do not help you find food. They help you escape the shadow of death. One morning in the land around Lake Iasi, a group of Hadzabe hunters was tracking prey when they suddenly stopped. Their bows slowly lowered, and every pair of eyes turned toward a very fresh footprint pressed into the dry ground. Only a few seconds later, the entire group changed direction at once and left the area quickly, as if they had just seen something extremely dangerous. For the Hadzabe, that track was a warning that they were not the only hunters moving through the forest. As the sun rose higher, the group had already crossed the dry, rocky slopes around Lake Iasi. No one spoke. Then, they suddenly stopped in front of a small patch of disturbed earth. Without any discussion, everyone immediately spread out. They were not staring into the empty space ahead, but studying the details most people would never notice. Large prints marked in the sand, a leaf that had just been turned over, or the sound of grass shifting nearby. To them, the forest is like a book that never stops being written, and every footprint leaves behind a line of text. Their first target was a troop of baboons feeding without realizing they were already within range. This is a difficult opponent because baboons are extremely alert. Just one strange sound, and the entire troop can vanish within seconds. The Hadzabe do not rush forward. They wait patiently as each baboon changes position, using the terrain itself to keep their bodies hidden. When the lookout baboon turns its head for only a moment, the arrow leaves the bowstring. The hunt ends very quickly, but to create that single moment, the entire group has waited for dozens of minutes in almost complete silence. But the forest always changes faster than humans can predict. The group suddenly realizes that the air around them has become strangely quiet. The birds grow fewer in sound, the bushes ahead move slightly, and large fresh tracks appear clearly on the dry ground. None of the hunters tries to prove his courage by moving forward. They quietly change direction, accepting that they will walk many more kilometers to avoid the territory of this predator. For the Hadzabe, knowing when to turn back can sometimes be more important than bringing down a large animal. The Hadzabe men understand that the prey they caught today is not large enough to feed the entire community. So they stop in front of a large tree, where the buzzing of bees comes from a high hollow in the trunk. A little smoke is made to calm the bees, and then they carefully take only part of the honey, leaving the hive intact so the colony can continue living.
They got stung.
Farther along the trail, using simple wooden digging sticks, they pull fresh wild tubers from the ground, just enough to add to the day's meal. For the Hadzabe, a hunting trip does not end only with the animal they catch, but with everything the forest allows them to bring home. When they return to camp after a long day of hunting, everyone gathers to build a fire and prepare the food brought back from the forest. What is remarkable is that no one asks who fired the decisive arrow. Food does not belong to one individual. It belongs to the entire community. As they eat, the elders tell stories from past hunts and teach the younger generation how to tell the difference between the tracks of baboons, hyenas, and leopards. These lessons do not require blackboards or textbooks, but they are exactly what has helped this community maintain a hunting and gathering way of life for tens of thousands of years. Perhaps the most extraordinary thing about the Hadzabe is not how many animals they can hunt, but the way they see the world. To us, The forest may look like nothing more than trees and animals. To them, it is a network of countless signals where every footprint, every sound, and every shift of wind carries information. They do not try to conquer nature because they understand that no one can truly defeat the forest. Instead, they learn to listen to it, adapt to it, and take only what they need. Perhaps after tens of thousands of years, that is the greatest survival skill humans have ever created.
As the first light of dawn spread across the dry land surrounding Lake Ayasi, the Hadzabe camp remained quiet. In this place, a new day does not begin with clocks or machines, but with the direction of the wind, the calls of birds, and the tracks left behind on the ground. To them, nature is never truly silent. Every trembling branch, every patch of disturbed sand, and every sound coming from the bushes carries a message. Hunting, therefore, is not simply a journey to find food. It is also a way for people to learn how to listen to the world that has sustained them for thousands of years. The men began preparing for the hunt. Some used knives to scrape the outer bark from carefully selected pieces of wood. Others secured arrowheads to the shafts, examined their shape, and checked the strength of every connection. Near the fire, a mixture used on arrow tips was slowly heated and carefully applied to the arrows intended for larger prey. Once everything was finished, each man took turns shooting at a target near the camp to test the straightness, power, and stability of his equipment. No one appeared rushed, because they understood that careful preparation before leaving could determine the success of the entire hunt. The group left the camp and entered the open woodland in silence. They moved slowly, paying close attention to every sign on the ground. Fresh small footprints, disturbed soil beneath the trees, recently broken branches, and faint sounds coming from above all suggested that a troop of baboons had passed through the area not long before. After traveling for a long distance, one hunter discovered more tracks leading toward a thick area of brush where the tree canopies grew close together. From that moment on, every step became slower and every pair of eyes more focused, because they knew the baboons might be hiding nearby. After some time, the hunters suddenly spotted a troop of baboons moving among the rocks. They immediately began closing in and reducing the distance. One baboon separated from the group and stopped near the water to drink. During that brief opportunity, one hunter quickly raised his bow, held his aim steady, and released the arrow. The accurate shot startled and wounded the animal. The group calmly moved forward and completed the hunt. No one celebrated too early, because they understood that success only came when patience, teamwork, and accuracy were maintained until the final moment. On the way back to camp, the group continued searching for other sources of food to add nutrition to the meal. Some of the men examined tree trunks for beehives, while others used digging sticks around bushes to uncover edible wild tubers. Honey provided quick energy after many hours of walking, while the tubers supplied carbohydrates that helped maintain strength for a longer period. For the Hadzabe, a complete meal does not depend only on the meat they hunt. It also comes from their ability to combine many different sources of food found in the natural environment. When the hunters returned, the camp quickly became lively. The adults worked together to prepare the animal, build the fire, and divide the meat into suitable portions. The meat was cooked directly at the camp, and then everyone, from the oldest members to the youngest children, gathered together to share the meal. There were no classrooms or written instructions, yet knowledge was still passed down through every movement, expression, and careful observation. Once the food was ready, everyone sat together, and the results of the hunt were shared equally, including with those who had been unable to participate. For the Hadzabe, the value of an animal is not measured by who fired the successful shot, but by how many people it can feed. Their way of life reminds us that survival does not depend only on strength or individual skill. It also requires patience, trust, cooperation, and a willingness to share. While the modern world continues trying to control nature, the Hadzabe still choose to listen to it and adapt to its changes. Perhaps that is what has allowed them to preserve not only an ancient way of life, but also the fragile balance between human beings and the land to which they belong.
The hippopotamus was already close, but what concerned the hunting party most was not just its location. The real question was how close they could get before the situation changed. Facing such a powerful, unpredictable animal that could react at any moment, distance marked the line between opportunity and danger. From the moment they left the camp, every movement was made in complete silence. Even the smallest sound could bring the hunt to an early end. Hippo hunting usually begins at first light, when the water is still calm and the tracks from the previous night remain visible. During the night, hippos leave the water to feed, leaving deep footprints in the mud. The group moved quietly, watching the ground while paying close attention to the wind and their distance from the riverbank. As the tracks became fresher, they slowed their pace, circled with the terrain, and used the bushes for cover while keeping a safe distance. As the hippo tracks became fresher, everyone immediately slowed down. The deep prints in the mud showed that the animal had passed through only moments earlier. As soon as it came into view, no one moved. The opportunity lasted only a few seconds, and when the moment arrived, one decisive action broke the silence. Everything happened quickly, precisely, and under intense tension. But the hunt was far from over. After leaving the riverbank, the group moved into drier ground and soon found another set of large tracks pressed into the hard earth, showing that a rhinoceros had recently passed by. Unlike the hippo, the rhinoceros moves more slowly but is extremely alert. A single unfamiliar sound can make it change direction or react dangerously. Following the rhino's trail, the group did not spend long in pursuit. They kept a safe distance, checked the wind, and quickly moved to higher ground to locate the animal. When the rhino appeared among the low bushes, everyone quietly spread out. No one approached head-on or acted too quickly. With such a massive and powerful animal, a single mistake could send the entire situation out of control. The decisive moment came when the rhino stepped into a more open area. The opportunity would not last long, as the animal could turn away or disappear into the brush at any moment. When the right moment arrived, they acted without hesitation. After the most intense seconds had passed, the group quickly resumed its steady pace, because the hunt is only complete once the result is safely brought back to camp. Back at the camp, those who had stayed behind had already prepared everything.
Back at camp,
Dry firewood was stacked, the fire was burning, and the cooking tools were in their usual places. As the hunters returned with their catch, everyone joined in without needing instructions. Some prepared the meat, others tended the fire, while the rest arranged the seasonings and cooking area. Every movement followed a simple and efficient routine passed down through generations. Before long, the smell of roasted meat filled the air, blending with the crackling fire and conversations around the camp.
Diet consists of dozens and dozens of different.
The cooked pieces were taken off at just the right time, torn apart by hand, and shared among everyone. The children received the best portions first, while the adults naturally accepted their share. There were no fixed recipes or exact measurements. Everything relied on experience, instinct, and careful observation. The meal restored their strength and strengthened the bonds of the community. As the sun slowly set over the savannah, the tension of the hunt faded away. Everyone gathered together to share food, talk, and bring another day to a peaceful close. Nothing more than necessary was saved for tomorrow, because life here follows the rhythm of nature, where each day begins with the search for food and ends with whatever nature is willing to provide. If you enjoyed this journey, let us know in the comments which moment impressed you the most, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Across the open woodlands and grasslands of Africa, there are still tribes that maintain a traditional hunter-gatherer way of life. Their survival does not depend on machinery or stored food supplies but on whatever nature provides each day. Every hunting trip is a test of patience, experience, and observation. Among the many animals that inhabit this landscape, pythons are considered one of the most challenging prey to pursue. They are not particularly fast and rarely attack without provocation, yet their remarkable camouflage makes even experienced hunters approach them with caution. At first light, a group of hunters leaves the camp carrying bows and a few simple tools. They speak very little throughout the journey. Every step is slow and deliberate, careful not to disturb the quiet wilderness around them. Rather than searching for a python with their eyes alone, they read the signs left behind by nature. A faint trail across the sand or a few displaced leaves can reveal where the animal is hiding. The hunters know that pythons often rest in trees, dense vegetation, rocky crevices, or deep mud to escape the heat of the day. Missing even the smallest clue could mean hours of searching with nothing to show for it. When the animal's hiding place is finally located, no one rushes forward. One hunter uses a long branch to probe the area while the others take positions nearby, ready to assist if necessary. When the python suddenly bursts from its shelter, it becomes caught in a prepared trap within seconds. The first priority is securing the head, as this is the only way to reduce the risk of a bite and prevent the powerful snake from wrapping itself around a hunter. The Hadzabe have faced dangerous animals many times in the wild, but when dealing with a large python possessing both strength and experience, they remain extremely cautious. Once the python has been fully restrained, the group quickly moves it away from the dense vegetation to ensure everyone's safety. For indigenous communities, such a catch is a valuable food source and is rarely wasted. The meat is shared among families within the tribe, while the skin may be used for various practical purposes. The success of the hunt does not belong solely to the person who captured the animal but is distributed throughout the community. This spirit of sharing and mutual support has helped these tribes remain united despite the challenges of life in the wilderness. What truly sets these indigenous tribes apart is not only their courage but also the vast knowledge passed down through generations. Elders teach younger members how to distinguish fresh tracks from old ones, identify the places where pythons are most likely to appear during different seasons, and understand when these reptiles are most active. These lessons are learned through direct experience in the field. For them, hunting is not simply a way to obtain food, it is a process of learning observation, patience, and respect for the laws of nature. Behind every hunt lies a philosophy built upon balance with the natural world. Indigenous hunters do not take more than they need, nor do they seek to stockpile large quantities of food for the future. They believe that nature will continue to provide as long as it is used responsibly. As a result, each hunting trip takes only what is necessary, allowing ecosystems time to recover and sustain future generations. To them, the forest is not a place to conquer but a home that deserves respect. This mindset has allowed them to live in harmony with nature for countless generations. The python hunts of Africa's indigenous tribes reveal far more than impressive survival skills. They also demonstrate a deep and enduring connection between people and the natural world. Every aspect of the hunt reflects a way of life shaped by experience, cooperation, and adaptability. While modern society becomes increasingly dependent on technology, these communities continue to show that understanding nature and respecting its rules remain essential to long-term survival. Perhaps it is this very principle that has enabled them to preserve their ancient way of life for thousands of years without losing their balance with the land they call home.
A thin layer of morning light spreads across the dry land, surrounding a lake in northern Tanzania. In the faint mist and lingering warmth from the previous night's campfire, a new day of hunting begins for the Hadzabe people. They carry no modern weapons, only bows, arrows, and knowledge passed down from one generation to the next. Their bows are carefully checked, bowstrings tightened, and arrow tips are gently warmed over glowing coals to keep the resin coating dry. The poison made from desert plants does not bring down prey immediately, but it is enough to gradually weaken it over time. The Hadzabe men gather in small groups. A few quick glances are exchanged before they begin their journey. Ahead lies a vast and unforgiving savanna. The hunters move slowly, spreading out in a wide line, each step nearly silent. One man kneels to examine flattened grass and freshly disturbed soil beneath a bush. The signs are familiar and suggest that a large python passed through the area not long ago.
A silent killer makes hope.
The group continues following the trail. Unlike many other animals, pythons often leave long drag marks across soft ground and low vegetation. After searching for a while, they spot the snake quietly moving through the brush in search of prey. The hunters quickly spread out around it. Once they are close enough, an arrow is released with precision. The python immediately thrashes and tries to disappear into the thick brush. The Hadzabe do not rush forward. Instead, they wait patiently. As the animal gradually weakens, they carefully move in and bring the hunt to an end. And one cheers or celebrates. For the Hadzabe, prey is not a symbol of victory. It is simply a source of food that helps sustain everyday life. Not every hunt is successful. However, some days they return empty-handed. Success and failure are both familiar parts of life in the wild. Just then, one of the men suddenly stops and looks up. From the edge of the brush, a golden shape slowly emerges. A lion steps into view, its cold eyes fixed on the python that has just been brought down. It understands that the scent of meat means an easy opportunity for a meal. The hunters immediately move forward a few steps and raise their bows in a defensive stance. There is no panic and no attempt to run. For the Hadzabe, the rule when facing dangerous animals is simple. Avoid unnecessary risks, stay safe, and do not create conflicts unless absolutely necessary. The lion pauses and watches. A poisoned arrow could put it at a disadvantage, and it seems to sense the caution of the hunters standing before it. As the sun slowly disappears beyond the deep red horizon, smoke begins to rise from the camp, mixing with laughter and familiar stories shared after a long day. What remains is not the brief encounter between humans and a predator, but the sense of connection that has helped the Hadzabe endure for generations. In this vast landscape, they are not trying to conquer nature. They simply hope for a day well lived, hunting together, sharing food, and returning home side by side. The python meat is divided among everyone, with some of it placed directly over a newly lit fire. Fat drips onto the glowing coals, sending fragrant smoke into the air. They eat with their hands, enjoying the meat while it's still warm, then carry the rest back to camp. Children run out to greet them, watching closely as the adults prepare the meat, tend the fire, and share the food. Step by step, they learn the skills needed to survive in the wild. Around the evening fire, the python meat is shared with everyone, from women and elders to young children. No one keeps the catch for themselves. What matters most is not who made the kill, but that everyone has food and remains together. In the gentle darkness of Africa, happiness can be surprisingly simple. Sometimes nothing more than a piece of meat passed around a fire, and loved ones gathered close beside it.
The Hadzabe are one of the few hunter-gatherer communities that still exist in the modern world. They live among the plains and open woodlands of northern Tanzania, where food is never fully guaranteed. Without farming, raising livestock, or storing supplies for long periods, they survive by hunting, digging tubers, and gathering whatever nature provides. This seemingly simple life depends on knowledge passed down for thousands of years. Before each hunting trip, Hadzabe men carefully inspect their bows, strings, and arrows. Everything is handcrafted from wood, natural fibers, metal, and materials found around their temporary settlements. They choose arrows according to the prey's size, speed, and level of danger. For larger animals, the arrowheads are often coated with a small amount of poison, which gradually weakens the animal and allows them to track it instead of pursuing it through dangerous terrain. As they move toward a patch of dense bushes, one hunter discovers fresh tracks near the entrance of a burrow. The shape of the tracks suggests that a honey badger may be hiding inside, a small animal widely known for its aggression. When cornered, it can suddenly turn around and attack anything nearby. Aware of the danger, the hunters push long branches into the burrow, while the others keep their distance and carefully watch the exits. As soon as the honey badger rushes out of the burrow, the hunter is already prepared. He draws the string, releases the arrow, and ends the hunt before the animal can fight back. No one celebrates for very long, because a single moment of distraction could become dangerous. After retrieving the prey, the entire group continues its journey. For the Hadzabe, success depends on staying calm, observing carefully, and choosing exactly the right moment. In an area of soft ground, the hunters discover fresh tracks and droppings, indicating that a warthog has recently passed through the area. They immediately slow down, speak quietly, and follow the direction of its movement. When they are close enough, one hunter raises his bow and shoots. The arrow hits the target, but the warthog continues running through the thick vegetation ahead. The group follows its tracks and, after a long pursuit, manages to approach and capture the prey. The hunt demonstrates their ability to read the terrain, understand the animal's reactions, and wait patiently for the right opportunity. Not far away, several small tracks lead them toward a herd of antelopes. These are fast animals, highly sensitive to sound, and capable of fleeing at the slightest movement. The hunters observe the wind direction and use bushes and raised ground to conceal their bodies. When one antelope separates from the herd and enters shooting range, the hunter slowly draws the bowstring. The arrow flies accurately, causing the animal to run a little farther before finally falling. However, capturing prey on the open savanna never means being completely safe. The smell of blood and surrounding noises can attract lions, hyenas, or other hungry predators. When they detect a threat, the Hadzabe do not consider confrontation a way to prove personal courage. They understand that humans and predators are simply searching for food. When the situation becomes unfavorable, they are willing to retreat, because returning safely to camp remains far more important than keeping the prey. While the men are away hunting, Hadzabe women search for wild tubers beneath the dry soil. They use long digging sticks to locate them, then carefully remove them and place them in woven baskets. This reliable food source is especially important on days when hunting produces no results. When everyone returns, the meat, tubers, and other gathered foods are collected and shared equally among the families. Sharing has become a natural and essential principle within the community. When the sun sets, the meat is cleaned, divided into smaller portions, and cooked over fire for everyone to share. The adults also teach the children how to follow tracks, hunt, dig tubers, and recognize possible dangers. After the meal, songs and traditional dances echo around the fire, bringing a long day to an end. Hadzabe life lacks many modern comforts, but the community remains strongly united through sharing in simple joys. Comment on what impressed you most, and subscribe to the channel to follow their next remarkable adventures.
Soft morning light gradually spread across the savanna and the sparse woodlands. The first rays of sunlight slowly illuminated the wide grasslands as many wild animals began searching for food in the wilderness. Back at the camp, the tribal hunters also woke before sunrise to prepare for a new hunting trip. One by one, they checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. Some tested their bowstrings, arranged their arrows, and inspected all their equipment one final time before departure. After completing every preparation, the group quietly left the camp and headed toward the vast savanna, beginning another hunting journey in the heart of the wild. Not long after reaching the open grasslands, the tribal hunters spotted a herd of antelope calmly grazing across a wide plain. Using tall grass and the uneven terrain as cover, they silently closed the distance without alarming the herd. When one antelope gradually wandered away from the others to feed farther out, the hunters quickly raised their bows. Several arrows were released in rapid succession, striking the target. Wounded, the antelope immediately turned and sprinted across the open grassland. But after a short distance, it gradually lost strength and collapsed. The hunters quickly moved in, secured the animal, tied up their prize, and began the journey back to the camp. But on the way back, the tribal hunters passed through a sparse woodland filled with low bushes. There, they noticed several small birds feeding among the trees. Taking advantage of the short distance, a few hunters quickly raised their bows and shot down several birds. The remaining birds immediately flapped their wings, scattered in different directions, and disappeared into the treetops. The hunters gathered the birds they had caught and carefully tied them together with the antelope for easier transport. After checking all of their game, the group continued along the familiar trail and quickly returned to the camp to prepare a meal.
Wakimbo aba.
Back at the camp, the tribal group immediately began preparing a meal using the antelope and small birds they had hunted. They lit a fire in the center of the camp while several members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into pots with water to cook. The small birds were also cleaned and added to the pots together with the antelope meat. While waiting for the food to cook, everyone took turns adding firewood, keeping the fire burning steadily and watching over the simmering pots. When the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food and regain their strength after the first hunt of the day. Afterwards, the hunting party prepared to set out once again.
Okay, kebab.
After a short rest, the tribal hunters headed back into the sparse woodland in search of another target. Before long, they discovered a herd of wild boars using their snouts to dig through the soft soil for roots and food beneath the ground. Using dense bushes as cover, the hunters quietly split into several directions and slowly moved closer to the herd. Once they were within range, an arrow quickly struck one of the boars. Wounded, the animal immediately charged through the bushes in an attempt to escape, but the hunters relentlessly followed. After a short chase, the boar gradually lost its strength and was completely subdued.
Dogs being shot with a 375 and
Carrying the wild boar back to the camp, the tribe quickly built up the fire to prepare another meal. The meat was carefully cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into pots with water to cook. While waiting for the meat to become tender, everyone took turns adding more firewood, maintaining the flames, and watching over the boiling pots. The aroma of freshly cooked meat slowly spread throughout the camp, signaling that the meal was nearly ready. Once the food was fully cooked, the tribe gathered together and enjoyed another hearty meal after the second hunt of the day. Everyone ate with satisfaction, restoring their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting through the forest and across the savanna.
Up.